when it comes to those scenes with Lupin and Harry, the first one I'm thinking of is the bridge scene, right?
Yes.
They're talking about Lily. They're talking about James. And it's almost like this like visual representation of the way that they learn to trust each other in that moment. At one point, they're like facing each other, like teacher and student. And then they face outward together, like they are on the same level. But when Lupin has to like kind of talk about the darkness or something that he's uncomfortable talking about, that's when he turns his back to the camera. And by the end, we're like seeing them both facing out of the bridge again. And I love that because it parallels the Patronus charm lesson, where Harry is now the one detailing something dark that happened to his life with his back turned to Lupin. And they end in a very similar way. They're both kind of sitting down, facing out as equals. And I think it's cool to see Harry not only have a professor he can trust, maybe a father figure he can trust, but a friend.
Yeah.
An additional friend who we know will protect him and give him chocolate. Like, I do love that scene.
It is a beautiful scene, and it's not from the book. This is a scene that has been created specifically for the film, and I feel like it gives us so much because, as I said, Lupin is one of my favorite characters. And it does kind of beg the question of where he's been all of Harry's life.
Yeah.
Because understandably, Sirius was not around. He could not be. Lupin actually could have been. And I think that's one of like the biggest kind of wrenches, is that he was always out there and he could have helped Harry. And he goes on to help Harry. But it feels like you feel that loss even more when you see what he could have been for Harry.
Totally.
But it is such an inspirational moment. And the fact that we actually get Harry having firsthand conversations about his parents from their peers, rather than it's not just about appearances. It's not just about like you look like your father, although that does obviously come up. But Sirius also says that, because I guess it's just such an immediate thing. But Lupin actually gives him a bit more texture about where he's come from, which is something that Harry has been so lacking in up until this point.
You're more like them than you think. I think that must mean the world to Harry, to have not had those experiences and to know that James lives on in his like troublemaker side and Lily's kindness and empathy. And also, I just have to shout it out. The bridge. Like, this is the first time we're getting the bridge.
Yes.
Like, the geography of Hogwarts looks so good in this film.
It's widened out massively.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, we see it in Hogwarts Legacy. Like, it now is the new kind of blueprint for Hogwarts. And it goes on to become massive in the Battle of Hogwarts.
Totally.
Just from Alfonso Cuarón and the set designers, production designers, locations, all deciding, we're gonna change it. We're gonna mix it up, and I kind of love that they're not afraid to do that.
Yeah, and you know, if you go to the first couple films, you'd almost forget like, oh, it did look like this. Hagrid's hut was here before, but now it's like that is Hogwarts, right? And I think there's a scene, another favorite scene of mine is the bird flying in the beginning.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because this is one of my favorites.
I just love that it's such a interesting visual way to be like, hey, this is what Hogwarts looks like now, and these are the major locations of this film. It's like he does such a good job foreshadowing so many things in this movie.
And that scene in particular, so you have the bird, so you're kind of watching it from the bird's eye view, watching it kind of like, but then it goes towards the Whomping Willow. And they use the Whomping Willow not only to show like the changing of seasons, which I just think is such a like extraordinarily like, it's not even subtle, but just beautiful way. Instead of just being like, oh, it's snowing. It's like, how are we going to show snow? Are we going to show it on the Whomping Willow? How are we going to show spring? We're going to show the blossoms on the Whomping Willow. And I just think it's so smart. But then you also have the birds flying into the Whomping Willow and being snuffed out, essentially.
A lot of birds die in this one.
You see a lot of death and destruction just in this one scene. It's giving us so much with just this one repeated
location
scene, with the Whomping Willow.
It's a character in itself in this one, 100%.
You know, I like asking who is your favorite. I think in this one, it's kind of obvious. It's Bem.
It's Bem.
Does everyone know who we're talking about when we say Bem?
Echo Cordy, I think is the actor's name. Yeah, it's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Oh my God. Just bars from Bem, I think. I love that scene. I love those lines.
Great lines, great character. Again, not in the book. He's a brilliant addition. And it's just like, he's just there. He's almost like, he's kind of like the voice of doom.
Foreboding.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But
I was just like,
such a poetic way.
Do you remember watching it for the first time and just being like, who is this kid? Dude, what a downer. Boy won in the credits, but Bem later.
Yeah.
I found that out. But yeah, I love that line.
Yeah.
I love that he gives us like some crazy exposition. But yes, scene stealer 100%.
Yeah. And I really like that they don't attribute it to, Seamus Finnegan is there.
Yeah.
They could do Seamus, but they're kind of like just trying to broaden it out a bit, being like, there are other pupils, by the way.
Yeah, this school is like full of
big.
other students. Yeah.
Something else that I love about Quaron, which we've sort of touched on, like the whimsy of it all and the lived-in magic that you were talking about, it's just all of the background details that I feel like every time I rewatch Azkaban, I see something new every single time, and I've watched it a lot.
Yeah.
So like, there's like the scene with all of the scenes with the fat lady. Every time because obviously we have the shot on her, and then we have the shot on the kids, and then you see behind the kids, Sir Cadogan is in this shot every single time in like a slightly different way. He keeps like inserting himself into it. So Sir Cadogan is like a massive character. He's a character in the books.
Mm-hmm.
He basically stands in for the fat lady when she gets slashed by Sirius Black. In this, he's not named, but he's the knight. He's in armor, and he's basically like this really hapless knight who just is a terrible kind of defense, but he thinks that he's amazing. And I just love that Alfonso has kind of inserted that in for the fans, knowing that he wasn't going to be
totally
a voice or anything, but he's there if you look for him.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those little like moments that you love?
Like the ghosts coming through the Great Hall, like before that really long take where, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are talking at the table. I think something like that is really interesting.
Like the headless hunt, like when they smash through the window.
Exactly.
Yes,
it's
because
like
we don't get that.
focus a lot on ghosts in the films, and they're such a big part of how Hogwarts functions in like the novels. So it is cool to see like little like winks and nudges to Harry Potter fans that are like who are like familiar with the source material, to see that in the films and kind of just acknowledged in some way.
Yeah.
Feels good. Yeah, 100%.
I also think he's like that sort of filmmaker where you can take any shot from like any scene and there will be a detail in there that you don't necessarily focus on. But if you look for it, you get like rewarded.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like. Whenever I watch this film, I feel like I get rewarded with something new. And it's, as a film fan, not just like a Harry Potter fan, but as a film fan, you feel like you're watching somebody who really understands what it is to go to the movies and to have the full experience. It's not about just the plot. It's not about just the main characters. It's about the whole tapestry of what it is to be in this world with them.
Yeah, there's such a texture to the way that everything is shot too, because you'd be really hard pressed to find static shots in this movie, and I think that adds to the how dynamic it feels as a whole. But because of that, like we talked about blocking a little bit, but it every scene is blocked in such a perfect way. There's a lot going on, but you don't necessarily notice that as a viewer. You just feel it, and I think that's so big. If you're asking me, one of my favorite details that I just recently noticed is that when we get to the Buckbeak scene, Buckbeak poops.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
He does.
I was like, oh my god, Buckbeak just pooped. Amazing. And that's so like lived in magic. You know what I mean? Like that's so realistic. Because horses be pooping. Yeah. And he's half horse.
And so do hippogriffs, exactly. But if we're going to go down the poop route, the Minister for Magic, Cornelius Fudge, when he's outside the Three Broomsticks, also steps in actual horse poo. Because he because Madame Rosmerta is like telling him off for sending Dementors into her pub, and he like steps back from her straight into like a horse pat.
Now I got to rewatch the movie again.
It's so good.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, always.